Commissioners, the meeting is live.
Okay, well, for the first time in 2025, I'll call the meeting of the Riley County Commission to order. Please, everybody join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For some reason, I was thinking it was Monday this morning.
Yeah, I can see it.
It's,
It
yeah.
has that
Totally
feeling.
mixed up.
It's that feeling.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody's ready for winter weather.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the updated forecast is saying 6 to 10 inches.
Huh?
Sunday. That's what I heard this morning.
Yeah, because the upper air is warmer than the lower
Sunday.
air is going to be, so we're going to get a lot of rain.
Yeah. Oh, that's overnight. Went from,
6 to 10 inches.
I usually just cut that in half, so it'll probably be like 3 to 5.
Which will still be showing.
Depends if we're on the edge. You know, we're usually on the edge of the.
That'd be a game
change.
changer.
Could change before now on Sunday. But
Definitely gonna be cold.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah.
saw -1 for a low on Thursday.
A couple nights.
Let's get it out of the way now.
Couple nights.
Won't be like that in February or March, maybe.
Or it might be.
It might just stay that way.
I was looking
We are
back
good
at,
for winter.
some photos from last couple of years. We always get a storm in January, mid-January,
Mhm.
early January.
Yep.
21 was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I got really cold that year too. I remember the Super Bowl. Cold. Okay, well, we'll just wish for the best there, I guess. I know our road crews will be ready to go for sure. So I saw a couple of the trucks out this morning, so we'll be prepared. And with that said, we'll start off with some public comment. I know Vivian's got something.
Good morning, Commissioners. Vivian Leyva, Public Information Officer. Just want to share a message that Riley County offices will be closed Thursday, January 9th in honor of the National Day of Mourning declared for President Jimmy Carter. While most county offices will be closed, Riley County District Court will remain open to accommodate a previously scheduled jury trial. The Riley County Transfer Station will also remain open and all emergency services will continue to be available. Regular operations for all other county offices will resume on Friday, January 10th. I sent the announcement to the media this morning. Elizabeth is preparing an announcement for staff, and then I'll schedule time Monday as well to join us. Trying to get the word out.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just as a reminder, that's per policy.
Mhm.
When federal holiday like that comes up, our policy to follow along.
Been done before,
Huh?
not been done before for any other, that's not too fast.
Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
but the executive order, that's consistent.
Well, no, I agree,
Oh,
we had to do it, but it's another last kick in the teeth. Like,
Commissioners, I would just add, I did notify extension, but they aren't sure what they'll do until they have their board meeting tonight.
okay, fair enough.
Commissioners, Brian Parker, County Councilor. I have a request to move the agenda item that's scheduled for 11 o'clock to discuss the Region Defense contracts to my currently scheduled administrative time at 10:15. Since I don't have much to discuss during the administrative time, that accept some questions from the commission. Thank you.
I make a motion to move the 11 o'clock scheduled discussion to 10:15.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to move the 11 a.m. agenda item to 10:15 instead. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, anything else? Seeing none, then we'll move on to commissioner comments and start with Commissioner McKinley.
Now, Tuesday morning, I was on Within Reason on K-Man, discuss what's going on in the county and plans going forward. And I thought it would go well. After radio, came into the office, caught up on some things here, and then had a meeting with Elizabeth. Quiet New Year's Eve. I didn't even make it up till midnight. I was tired that
Me
day.
either. Me neither. Didn't even try.
And the New Year's Day, watched the K-State women's basketball sleepwalk through a game and then turn it on the fourth quarter and win by 20. it was tied at the end, 3/4, and then they got serious and it wasn't even close. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, this week has been kind of a catch-up one for me after being gone, so mainly I spent time at home getting things organized and put away and cleaned up and all sorts of things, so lots of laundry. New Year's Eve and day were pretty uneventful, as I too chose to stay home. I did make it up till about 11:30. I heard the fireworks at about 12, but that was good. Oh, okay, another year. So I had a pretty busy time in Virginia, so it's a good time to relax and get caught up on stuff here and do some research on the year ahead. That's all I have.
I didn't make it out either.
You didn't either?
I did make it up past midnight, but it didn't last much longer than that, but yeah, it was pretty uneventful. Figured it might just be good just to stay home and relax this year. It was a little cold with the wind and everything else, and so I just, no, it's all good. Did watch the K-State men's team the other night. Just kind of wondered to see what they would do come conference time, if it was worth it or not. I sparked my interest apparently because they won, beat a pretty good Cincinnati team, or maybe they're not that good. I don't know. Big 12 is going to be up and down this year, I think. The teams you thought were going to be really good aren't, and a couple of them may surprise us, so we'll see.
Kind of like football.
Yeah, speaking of football, watched plenty of that over the last couple of days too. So that's pretty much the last couple of days in a nutshell. Nothing too exciting and glamorous. That's all I got.
Ready for business, commissioners?
Do it.
First item I have, I need a motion to approve the following appointments and resolution, appointing Riley County representatives to council advisory boards.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve appointments and resolution number 010225, appointing Raleigh County representatives to several council and advisory boards.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded to approve the following appointments and resolution number 100225, a resolution appointing Riley County representatives to councils and advisory boards. All in favor?
Aye.
All three sign, please. they ever gonna get the Notre Dame Georgia game played?
Supposed to be 3 o'clock this afternoon.
I heard they're talking about moving it another
That's what
day.
I heard too.
Their suggestion.
Yeah, that's what they're suggesting, yeah, for security, but they're just not sure they know everything that's going on.
We had incidents in Vegas and in New York City yesterday too.
Yeah, I didn't hear about the one in Vegas until I was talking about this last
Saw
night. My
video-
son said
Somebody
something.
shot video of it.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
the video.
I saw it on the news last night, but what was New York?
I didn't hear about
There
it.
was a crowd shooting or something over in Queens. I don't know if it's related or not.
Oh. It's crazy. First year of the. Year, first
Can't start
year.
the new year in peace, that's for
Oh, yeah.
sure.
Well, it can happen anywhere, so we all need to be prepared.
The reason it was good probably just to stay inside.
Yeah, I'm really a big proponent of that anymore, just avoiding crowds.
Me too. I've been there ever since COVID. It's just, big crowds just don't. But yeah, the Bourbon Street's always been huge, huge crowd.
Especially this time of the year.
Yeah, they never really controlled. It's change. This wall, but that's this. Retired military person too.
The one with the Tesla was military as well.
Was it?
Mhm. Next, commissioners, I have Riley County Personnel Actions Form, Sarah Darnell, non-exempt status change, MCH Home Visitor Health Department, Justin Brenner for an exempt status change, Hazardous Waste Coordinator, Noxious Weed Department. All three signed, please.
First saw Justin on there, I'm like, what? He can't be,
Yeah.
he's not allowed.
Agreed. He's a good one. Hey, did you go to the game, the men's game?
No, I didn't. So that means I can't go either because each time I go, they lose.
Same here.
I would like to see them pull it together and make it interesting for people to want to go. For them.
Oh, yes, they bombed that again. Attendance was really,
Was it?
no, it would have, I think, if they'd have lost
Oh, yeah.
another one.
Oh, yeah.
Attendance would have been.
They play together. It's pretty.
Any changes to the minutes, commissioners?
I had one thing, on my notes, and I probably made the mistake. I attended it says ESL, it's EBL.
EBL,
Yeah,
Established Business Leaders.
yeah, I had ESL. I don't know where that came from. I'm sure.
Okay, any other changes? Bless you.
I didn't see anything.
I don't know.
What? Move to approve the minutes of the December 30th meeting as amended.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Here. EBL?
Yeah, EBL.
You want to
Established
extended
business
sick leave, huh?
Yes.
Yeah,
We got rid of that.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. How the tentative agendas look, commissioners?
Just a question on that on. What is that? I guess next Monday that we have public hearings for two things. For the University Park and Valleywood. And we usually have a little bit of briefing before that. I know she's been in talked about Valleywood, they're talking about doing something, but. I haven't heard anything about University Park.
I haven't either.
You know, usually we get. Brought up to date before the
Mm-hmm,
public hearing, so we know what's going on.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
that's from John Hillman,
we'll,
published for the university.
be sure you get briefed prior to that, so it'll have to be sometime that day, but we'll be sure you get briefed. Sound good?
Yeah, probably, yeah. Same thing for Valley.
Yeah.
Of course, with us taking the 9th off. Is all that gonna get absorbed into Monday or?
Well, Cindy will have to contact the course departments to be sure they're available and we'll shuffle it
Rearrange
around.
stuff.
Uh-huh. Yep. That'll be one of Cindy's primary tasks in getting all redone.
Go ahead.
Commissioners, if it would be helpful on the University Park expansion, right? I think this one may have, it's not a traditional expansion. It's for one home
Oh,
that adjoins the district. And it's only, they're paying for I think they're gonna have to extend the main about 150 foot and they're gonna pay for it. So it doesn't have much impact. It's more just.
Yeah, okay, that's just, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Commissioners need any more on that one or?
no.
Okay, we'll just have Amanda then brief you on the other one. Then good. Any items for next week's press conference, commissioners?
Yeah.
Okay, next you have Elizabeth Ward at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, on the 9th, I wonder if they're gonna change that governmental luncheon and the and then we'll have the joint city county.
Hey, Amanda, it's
meeting
Rich.
that
How you
day.
doing?
Oh, is it?
That
Is
day
that
too.
Not too bad. You have that public hearing coming up next Monday. Could you, during your staff time today, could you brief the board on that? If you will, they're wanting to have an update on that prior to having the public hearing. Thank you. Bye. Timing can be everything. She's on the
Well,
agenda. And
I
I
know
thought,
she was, that's what I was hoping
Yeah.
that she could.
that's
add
perfect.
some there.
That's perfect.
I thought it was actually the third. Thursday.
Well, let's see, they've got the January, and they've got. Yeah, they've got both joint city and county meeting and then the
Oh, it's on our
intergovernmental.
agenda.
Yeah, on the agenda. Of course, payroll, accounts payable.
Well, it says discuss them, but it's the week after.
Oh, it is, okay, this is discussed, okay,
Yeah.
week after,
I say I thought it was a third.
okay. So we don't have it. Okay, I was wrong.
Morning.
He's not letting go. Yeah, not this, you know, understand. Whatever it is. There's a policy. That it's changing. Yeah, the rules, yes. I think we're so. Yeah, I interpret now. I'm over here. Yeah. Everyone feels like this.
Just people will have to end that, you guys don't go on there. I walked in and already behind money there at the time. It's gonna happen.
No.
Yeah, it feels like.
Holidays tree.
Usually at least.
I placed my grocery order yesterday. We always have food. There's always, it's fine, but I need to make sure that they have real meal.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
not having it yet.
I celebrate music.
Which one did you take?
That's.
Yeah.
I'm not that up.
One more question. I just feel like I'm really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
This.
But I think yours. It's all, and it's also, it's all. Probably the most intense.
Yeah. Very demanding.
Yeah, demanding.
That's fine.
Lori's, well, both of them. That one is, I think it has all the organs, but it's not.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Very super simple.
Yeah, I feel like the reading goes. Well, I was the NACO high performance leadership person, and I think so I would turn on the videos while we drove, because there's so much. And it was 6 hours a week there. And so I would turn it on and was like, do you have? Yeah, I'm just
Fortunate you get to take this. Yes. They actually. I listened to this, not the one that the other one, the next. Way back. Illinois too.
He reminded me, oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's where the big thing is. And you know, this thing I say, or how it's-
Remember back from like, even as I've tried to Zoom stuff, or saying, you know, where it's the old function, I got my ears, I do that, and then I'm back, actually, put it on the video, so you guys, that is the most boring hour and a half of class. And I'm here, like, sorry, did you learn anything about me? But I love like.
Michael, how you doing?
Better than I deserve, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
I'm a good New Year so far.
Yeah, yeah, so far so good.
You should have talked to them. It's not enough to get away now. Hold on. I have a biometric. Pick them up.
Commissioners, Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director, here with our meant to be monthly Human Resources report, but we, with different holidays and things like that, we are going to cover November and December today, and just kind of recap the role of Human Resources and what we try to bring to the organization. So for recruitment and retention, and we're looking at 2 months, and we're also having a pretty good picture of year end here. So the current head count, so that was as of this week, is 285 regular employees and 367 stipend or seasonal, mostly going to be our firefighters and our election workers that who are on our payroll. Hires for November and December, we have 5 new hires and 4 in the seasonal company. And for the year, I think it's kind of interesting to look at. So we have 67 new hires compared to 66 separations. So we're pretty much even in our regular employees, staying about consistent. For November, you can see we had 5 new hires versus the 15 separations. We had November and December. We had quite a bit of turnover, and there were many different reasons for that. Some of them, there were some grants ending. Some we had some disciplinary action, and then we had a bunch of retirements, becoming key retirements. So that happened as well at the end of this year. So our turnover rate has increased. We're at 23% turnover. But interestingly, our tenure actually increased a little bit. We were at, I think, 8.7 and now we're at 9. Which does surprise me actually, because we lost one of our 2 longest term employees with 45 years. And another employee with 17 plus years, for retirement. So that number did surprise me. So I had to kind of double check and look at that list a little better, but we do have 6 current openings. And I think you're aware of all of them. We have an EMS position open. We have emergency management planner. The clerk's office has the administrative assistant levy position open. Health department has a couple positions. Mostly we're focusing on the public health nurse at this point is the highest priority. And then public works also has a couple positions and one in particular that we are trying to just look at new strategies for recruiting in 25. So we will continue to work on it. And I talked to you about that position in particular in October. So that's one of our facilities. And I guess I would just say the issue there, I think, is technical skills. There's just a lack of technical skills. And then the market is pretty high because of the few number of people who are able to do handyman construction type skills. So I'm going to have you hear from some of the participants of our leadership training programs today. And so we're going to talk to Lori with supervisor training. She and a couple other people are taking the highly effective managers program. Megan is going to give us an overview of her experience on the NACO High Performance Leadership Academy. And Tandy is going to talk to us about the Flint Hills leadership. We also have supervisor mentoring in the health department and some cool things coming forward that we'll present to you in the next month or so about some development there for supervisory and leadership and specifically to the health department. So I'll let them talk from here and move on.
Hi, Lori Muir, Public Works. I am in the highly effective leaders or mentioned as managers too. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but we started that in July. There's a group of people from the clerk's office, the treasurer's office, the health department, and now I'm at Public Works. So there's one person at Public Works that attend this. We meet once a month by Zoom. It's instructor led on Zoom, but we also have multiple different people on that Zoom. They're from different entities, not government. So we get to hear different ideas from different, how other people work in there. And some of them are quite interesting. Government work versus private industry is a lot different in some cases. We've learned a lot of ways that we can grow and that we can grow, help our staff grow. One of the things I'm focusing on is creating a vision, which that may be, and this is where I come up with something, and I'm just going to throw a thing out there like customer service. How can we improve our customer service? So I'll throw that idea out there, have the group meet, and then they can say, okay, this is how we can do it. This is how we can do it. And actually Brittany's in this with me. And so when I was in the clerk's office, Brittany and I did this. We put the staff together in a room. We were not in there and we let them come up with ideas. They did an amazing job and their ideas were different than ours. So it was just neat to see that work. I'm really looking at myself too, looking in the mirror, looking at what I need to do to change, how I can improve. They called it blind spots. What are my blind spots? What things do I need to do to improve? And then another thing is critical thinking, to allowing staff to think. Don't let them come to me and say, how do I fix this? They come to me and I say, well, what do you think? What's your idea? Come to me with a solution to your problem. So, and then we've had some talk about self-assessments too. Possibly I did one just to see how I came out on the self-assessment, but then maybe staff doing it too. So that's something I'm thinking about doing too. So it's been a great program so far because we're halfway through. So I feel like I've gotten a lot out of it. And I think there's a lot more to go. And I really appreciate the commissioners allowing us to have these trainings because the time and money. Any questions?
Did you got used to saying Public Works instead of clerks?
So, don't try it.
And I had just one thing about the presentation that Lori gave, is this is the program that we are considering making our Riley County ongoing leadership or management program. And so if you, I just kind of want to put that in there so that you can be thinking about whether or not that seems, reasonable and what the best return of our investment for Riley County. We have 11 people, she mentioned the different departments, and it does last a year, so they meet every month. And even though the presenter is via Zoom, the group gets together, physically together to share the meeting, but then also have the discussions.
Yeah, and we do have, they break us out into rooms and we're just all in one room and we get to talk about what we do in our individual departments too.
Thank you.
Morning.
Megan Lewis with Community Corrections, and I completed the NACO High Performance Leadership Academy. The pre-work started in July, and then the official kickoff was in August. The course was, what we did was, it was all online, so there was no in-person, like Lori did. But we met online. Each week you would have, I would say, approximately 8 hours of coursework to do. And then on Thursdays, you met with a breakout group, a cohort, where you discuss the work that you've done, and there's a focus on one single area or question. And you talk about that and you discuss it. And then on Fridays, we would meet again with the entire group and summarize the week's work. We did that throughout every week, and we had 2 weeks off. So we had 2 breaks so we could kind of catch up if individuals did get behind. And I completed that in November. And what I would say, that some of the key areas that we focused on were, we learned about our personal leadership skills, and then also the positive, the importance of positive encouragement and engagement from your team and your staff. And then the effects of leading change, communication and collaboration, and then also just leading high performance teams. And so one of the big things that I took away from it would be communication. Communication with people that we collaborate with, communication with the board, with our team, making sure that we're transparent and that we also encourage our team to be leaders. Everybody has different skills and they might be a leader in a different way, but helping that bring that out within the team so that they can help kind of encourage change, and it's not always just coming from me. So that would be, and then the other thing, it focuses a lot on General Colin Powell, and he talked about, there's a lot of videos from him and his 13 rules of leadership. And I have them taped to my wall because there's some really good ones. And they just kind of make me smile sometimes. A few of them are, it ain't as bad as you think. It'll look better in the morning. And be careful what you choose because you might just get it. And then make sure to share the credit and then have a vision, but be demanding to reach your vision. So that's just a few of the 13. I really enjoyed it. The cool thing about it is I will have access to it forever. So as something happens or something kind of strikes me as, I feel like I've heard this before. There's a resource I can look into. I can go back into the coursework and pull some of that information back out. So I really enjoyed it. I appreciate the opportunity to take it.
I was actually there in person when he gave this presentation.
Oh, you were?
Picture, yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. That was
It's
cool.
actually existed previous to Riley County participating, but John brought it back from national and talked with some people and got us a discount the first year. And so that's how we kind of implemented and started doing it. And I was just going to mention to you, Commissioner, remind you that this as our organization is the biggest investment, monetary investment per person that we do at Riley County. It's also the largest time commitment, so it's a very demanding course. They meet weekly, and we mentioned probably about 8 hours of work for this program per week. So our strategy is to focus on our department heads and our highest level leadership, and not necessarily just the department head, but when we're looking at succession plan, maybe people that we're trying to develop into that next generation of leaders. And so generally what we've done in the past is had 2 people come and participate, and we will be asking you to do that again this year. We haven't, it doesn't start until late summer, so we haven't gotten around to that, but
Who was the other one?
yeah, as I said too, now I'm completely blank now. I do know. I have a complete brain fog. I will.
I knew, obviously, knew it.
No, Corey did it already.
Yeah, Corey and Julie.
Sorry, I will let you know. I don't know why I have a brain fog on that, but yes, I'll let you know.
And I would say that we don't have any.
Yeah,
there's-
you're not,
you're
oh,
not-
Doug, it's Doug Russell.
Okay.
Doug Russell. I know this
Oh, that's
answer,
right, that's
yes. It's Doug Russell. And yeah, they're
Good.
completely separate groups, which is also nice because they're not leaning on each other, right? They are completely participating. And I've spoken very lightly with him about it, and it has been a good challenge for him as well.
Challenge is a good way to put it, especially when you're starting in a new position.
Yeah.
It was a worthwhile challenge, though, is what I would say. And I would encourage other people to do it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Tandy Lentz, Riley County Treasurer's Office. So I am currently attending sessions with the Flint Hills Regional Leadership Program. I would first like to start by saying that I really want to thank the commission and my department head for the time that, well, the monetary value that you've invested in me as a Riley County employee and my department for my absences. You know, they've really been able to keep up with things while I've been away from the office, and I appreciate both of those things greatly. So the Flint Hills Regional Leadership Program empowers leaders from diverse backgrounds with 21st century skills for fostering a vibrant future in our region. So our class consists of 26 individuals from throughout the Flint Hills. We have attended 9 sessions so far, kicked off this summer with a retreat at Rock Springs Ranch where the 26 of us met for the first time ever. And I take myself back to that's where I feel like I learned the foundation of what this program was going to teach me. 26 of us together, we show up bright and early on a Monday or on a work day. It's dark outside and we head straight to a ropes course. 26 people encouraging each other to get through something that we were all really, really scared about. So, and really taught us how to lean on one another from our different backgrounds and the different places that we come from. Since then, we've visited Junction City, Gary County, Pottawatomie County, Wabunsee County, Kansas State University, a 2-day session at Fort Riley, Manhattan and Riley County. Our last session will be in Topeka with some collaboration with legislators where we will get to have some sit downs and some lunches. And I really feel like I'm going to mirror what these two ladies have said, that it gives you the opportunity to look in the mirror, reflect on yourself, how you encourage your team, how maybe some other people can impact maybe decisions that you will make going forward. And I feel like that is really something that I learned from this course this far is one of the other things that we did at Rock Springs Ranch is we did the True Colors personality trait. And so when I'm speaking to like members of my staff in my office or members of the community, I really like put into perspective potentially maybe what color they are and how I can approach their personality and the words that come from from me. And really like taking into account things that are happening in other regions and how we can all help with getting us to the next step. Like we have to empower our staff to be where we want them to be when we are no longer here. And I feel like that's something I've learned from this as well.
And then you all remember, the thing that's unique about this is that this is a partnership, and so we also, Riley County sponsors and participates in this for all of the group, and so this is a kind of a local community regional, which is very unique from the other two. So, nice program. Thank you. Okay, I know I'm over, so I'm gonna go really fast and just tell you, these are the things that Human Resources has been focusing on in that last year end. So we did, as you know, got the total year end compensation communication out to employees, and we had some interesting and good reactions to that. I think one of the big things is that people forget or are not aware of how much county invests in healthcare, for example, and then also the other benefits that we have, the HSA, the HRA, all of these benefits that you can only get by working period, but specifically by working in the county. So I think that for me is the value of this. It's not about communicating what someone costs, it's about communicating the monetary value of my position. So if I'm thinking about looking at other jobs, I can really make a true comparison. It's not just salary here. We finished our performance evaluation. We have all of that wrapped up, and I think that went fairly well this year. You know, obviously, everybody loves performance evaluation, so we had some really good, honest conversations, and I'm hoping to see some growth from that. The 2025 pay rate assignments, Michelle has gone through that. We've set all the pay rates, and then Michelle has done all the assignments. So we are ready to roll. Same with the 2025 benefit rates. So Michelle assigned them. She also did an internal audit, and so we really are ready to roll for the first payroll of 2025. And I'm saying that quickly, but I need you guys to understand this is several full work days to make sure that we get this inputted into multiple different systems, that they are communicating with each other, and that it's all going to flow and not affect an employee's pay. Michelle she's excited about working on an FMLA filing system overhaul. And I asked her if I should write it down because it's such a big one that she's committing to it. And she wants to move everything electronic. So she's working on creating how compliance looks for that, and then we'll be able to access that easier and then not also take up the physical space. So that's going to be a big project. Brittany and I have been working on the grant funded personnel budget prep. So we've got some of those budget meetings scheduled in January. The grant funds need to be requested early spring. So we want to get that going. We, in the clerk's office as a whole, and particularly in HR, are doing continued mentoring in the health department. So we're meeting one way or another, email, electronically through Zoom or Teams or in person more than one time a week with them. And I've already mentioned that we're working on an organizational effectiveness training. So we have some exciting ideas there. And then Michelle there's a new government ID training. It's still our state ID program and our system, but they've got an ID training that Michelle will be participating in this month as well. So that's what we're looking forward to. Thank you, commissioners.
Time for Mr. Bowler.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Bowler with the Noxious Weed HHW update. And in the words of Colin Powell, no matter what I tell you, it's going to seem better tomorrow morning, I guess. So I kind of like that one. So keep that in mind. Start off on the noxious weed side. Crews finished up our third round of mowing as of December 12th. That's about on time. A lot of folks seem to think that mowing should be done early November because that's kind of what time they do their last mowing in the front yard. That's not how it works for us in the state. We mow up until December, but happy to let everybody know we are done with that. Winter maintenance has started on our roadside sprayers and rim sprayers and tractors, and that process will, of course, last throughout the winter time, getting ready for next spring. We did have one snow removal call out in November. We've had no call outs in December. Having said that, I haven't seen the latest weather update, but I've told my guys don't make big plans for this weekend. So we'll see how that turns out. Chemical prices continue to remain stable. We were able to purchase several pallets of chemical for the upcoming spray season. And because of this purchase, we'll be able to lower our prices or keep them where they're at this time. It does appear that the market from things, embargoes going on with China, and a few other things, that chemical prices, I've been told by our reps, will be going up in the spring. So I'm happy to get out in front of that process and buy several pallets for next spring. Unfortunately, I don't see my photograph here that I had hoped to illustrate a pending problem that we as a county may face, specifically the weed department. And that is, I attended a meeting at the Kansas Department of Ag about the proposal of adding Amur honeysuckle to the noxious weed list in Kansas. Photographs speak 1,000 words. I wish my photographs were up here. The state of Kansas calls this a shrub. It is really a bush or a small tree. It is invasive. I don't deny the fact that it's invasive and we need to look at something being done with it. However, in order to make it a noxious weed, you have to give us a reasonable plan of treatment plan. In the state of Kansas, as proposed, you spray it with glyphosate. Everybody knows that's Roundup. This stuff stands about 15 to 20 feet off the ground. It's a tree. It grows primarily around our parks and our rural areas. Think of Annenberg Park is surrounded by it. A lot of our park areas along the tree line. Anything that you see in the tree line, it just recently lost its leaves. It was the last thing to stay green. So imagine trying to spray that, broadcast spray that with glyphosate. Folks that live in the area, that is not going to be an acceptable method of treatment. The way it really should be taken care of is cut down and the stumps treated. That is extremely labor intensive. The city of Manhattan has an agreement with us that they treat noxious weeds inside the city limits of Manhattan. And frankly, 85% of our infestation of the Amur honeysuckle is located inside the city of Manhattan. I have reached out to the city and just made them aware of this pending change. I'm not trying to sway their decision to want this to be a noxious weed or not. I'm just very concerned that the counties are going to be saddled with the burden if this becomes a law. I have the support of Shawnee County, Sedgwick County that was there as well. Some programs, the Audubon Society was not necessarily happy with me that I don't want it to become a noxious weed. I understand that the berries on the Amur honeysuckle don't contain the fat content. The birds do eat Amur honeysuckle, but it's not as nutritious as our native species of plants. The leaves also fall off of the brush into our water streams and they deplete our oxygen levels. So things like tadpoles have to surface to the ground quicker to get a breath of air, and that makes them more susceptible to predators. I do not deny that this is an invasive species of plant. I support that we do something about it. I'm just very concerned of our treatment process right now. And what it would do to burden the county. And I think we've got to come up with a better control method. So I'm happy to keep the board appraised of where we're at on that and maybe give a more detailed what the Amur honeysuckle looks like when its treatment process. Again, if I had some photographs up here, I don't know what happened to them, but it would really help illustrate what that is. So something to keep our eyes on. Meeting with the state, they were very open with what I and Central County and Cherokee County have to say about it.
Michael,
Yes.
I've noticed and I'm close to Annenberg Park and there's a lot of it. I've seen some of my neighbors transplanting it into their yards because it has some nice little white blooms on it. And they think, oh, this is a great shrub, and maybe an educational program may help a little bit.
Well, and that's exactly where Amur honeysuckle came from. It was planted intentionally as an ornamental bush. It grows well in this area. It flourishes. It does have, honeysuckle, right?
Yeah.
Just the name. Who doesn't love honeysuckle? It does. It has a nice bloom to it. It is a pollinator. There are some benefits to it, but compared to native species brush. But yeah, that would all go into the process of if it does become a noxious weed. And I'm all for selling chemical for it, doing what we can to treat it. I'm just very concerned that we don't have the equipment and the manpower. This becomes a forestry thing, really. It's not. I know that Rich would love eastern red cedar to become a noxious weed. Can you imagine?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, can you imagine? Now, killing it's one thing, but a dead tree is a problem. A plant, if you spray it, it will biodegrade. But this, if you just kill it, we sprayed it, then, we're getting into fire hazard. There's just so many other things here. It's a concern, so I think you can look on, but absolutely, the education program of people planting this stuff, it's out of control. The barn, the horse that bed out of the barn, to be quite honest, we should have had this discussion 15 years ago. But with anything, we're going to try to catch up, but I'll keep the board appraised of where we're at.
Is it a problem in that this planted as kind of a decorative? Is it much of a problem in the county, or is it mostly just in the city?
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, Commissioner, but my primary thing that I focus on is a threat to our agriculture system and our range land. In Amur honeysuckle, although it could be in the draws of some of those areas, we're certainly never losing yields or anything from crops out of this. And that was kind of my point to the Kansas Department of Ag. Their response to that is, well, we're here to support any invasive species. But I really feel my goal is when I look at noxious weeds is it affecting our pasture rangeland? Is it affecting our agricultural land? And so to answer your question, no, it's not a big threat to those items. It's more in a rural area, parks, that sort of thing. We'll have calls on people saying, look, this is encroaching on my child's swing set in the backyard. It is really, but, you know, not to diminish the problem. It is an invasive species. In the state of Missouri, it's really chewing up their forest areas. It's bad. It needs dealt with. I don't want to diminish that it's not. It just, for me, it doesn't necessarily fit into what we do. But, moving on.
Okay.
HHW, we did do a collection on December 14th. We had 60 participants in that collection. That's a bit above our average number. The next HHW collection at Howie's will be Saturday, January 11th, 2025. The Raleigh County HHW facility does have plenty of recycled latex paint to give away. We've been catching up on that. Been hugely popular over the holidays. People want to do their clean out of their house. So we've had a lot of incoming paint and we're prepared to have a lot of outgoing paint. We did have our meeting with the Big Lakes Regional HHW, of which I am the administrator. We did set our budget for 2025, $115,000. That is neutral from several years ago. And I'm very proud that we've in the last 5 years, despite transportation costs and processing and HHW material increasing, we've been under budget for the last 5 years and maintained our budget for that. So that not only makes Raleigh County happy, but Wabunsee County, Pot County, Marion County, everybody that's in that county got feedback that they're grateful with budgets being what they are, that we've been able to maintain ours and steady them. So proud of that. Working with graduate students at K-State University. This is kind of exciting. We've signed a letter, or I signed a letter of support for a federal grant to research safer ways to store and process lithium-ion batteries. They've got some creative ideas up there. I'm happy to be a part of that. We're very grateful for their assistance and we'll be closely working with them if that grant is successful. As you, the commissioner, know, lithium-ion batteries are a big problem in many counties, a growing problem, very explosive problem, if you will. And I'm very proud that Raleigh County has been kind of a leader in that area. And this is the latest installment of that. So hopefully we'll have some success with that grant. Justin Brenner and I will be working and representing Raleigh County at the Topeka Farm Show. We'll be there, I guess, a week from today. Down there gives us an opportunity to speak with our taxpayers and help let them know what we do and maybe educate them a little bit on the Mere honeysuckle this year. So I'd like to have that opportunity to do that. We began coordinating our CWDAK basic weed school that I'm in charge of, along with the Kansas Department of Ag. And that event will be hosted here in Manhattan and attended by weed directors. That is a statutory requirement for new weed directors to attend that training and pass that training. So that will again be the 18th through the 21st. And then finally, preparations have begun for our 8-hour refresher course. That is something else that Justin and I are responsible for putting on for all the HHW facilities across the state. And that event will be hosted at the Raleigh County facility. We'll conduct that training and we haven't set a specific date, but it should be in April of 2020. Lots of material to recover there. So unless there's any questions in the interest of time, I guess I will move on very quickly to the next item, which is fairly straightforward, commissioners. This is a KDOT contract. This is a contract that we sign with this Kansas Department of Transportation every year to treat state roadside roads and right of ways for noxious weeds. This is something we've done every year. This does not cost us money, but it does not make the county money. We charge exactly what our employees make. You will see this number here, $48.96, actually went down a bit this year because we've lost one of our employees that had over 30 years experience and we hire new folks. We get a smaller number. So the way that works, that way we come up with that number is my salary and everybody's salary that's involved in this KDOT process. We take an average of that and add 39.5% for things like health cost, So that's how we come up with that number. So again, we don't make money on this process, but we don't lose money, and it enables us to ensure all noxious weeds in the county are being treated. And that's something Riley County is, with your support, we do a great job. So with that, I would recommend that the board approve the KDOT contract for 2025.
So I moved to, move to approve the KDOT 2025 contract for treatment of noxious weeds.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2025 KDOT contract for removal of noxious weed. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair, please sign.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thanks, Michael. Next is Anna Burst, commissioners. And then
Commissioners, Anna Burst with the Riley County Appraiser's Office, just here to give you the monthly staff update. Personal property renditions were mailed on December 30th, so they should be hitting mailboxes today and into next week. Please note again that this marks the final year that Riley County will be mailing out the renditions to property owners due to the legislative change taking effect in 2025. Actually, July 2024 is when it went into effect, so. The process of setting personal property values has commenced. On the agricultural use side, the annual reinspection of agricultural properties has been completed. Updates to boundary maps returned by property owners have been made, with a few remaining changes to be processed over the next few weeks. The residential 2024 calendar year concluded with approximately 1,157 total property sales in Riley County, of which 1,001 are residential home sales. The median sale price is still at around that $250,000, with an average sale price of approximately $275,803. The current sales ratio still remains steady in that 93% range. Staff are actively reviewing our building permits and plans to finalize outstanding permits the first 2 to 3 weeks of 2025. The annual review phase for 2024 has been completed. Residential market modeling for 2025 has been finalized and submitted to PBD by the January 1st deadline. And the team begun setting values, will begin setting values in the coming weeks. As noted in the December update, 2024 sales data indicates a 5% increase in median sale price from 23 to 24. The overall increase in valuation for 2025 will not be determined until values are set in the coming months. On the commercial side, the commercial team is reviewing commercial building permits, and their team is also assisting in the residential building permit review. They're wrapping up income analysis and final review is underway. Updates are provided on the next slide regarding the commercial BOTA cases. There's no new development since the last update, aside from some scheduling changes. And so really the only thing to look at on that next slide is just some of the dates have changed. And other business completing personal property updates, specifically, there was a lot of time spent on the website, as well as processing PUPs and abatements right now, payment under protest time, and we're just working through those PUPs as they come in. We're finalizing year-end compliance requirements and preparing to set those 2025 values. PVD course, the course catalog came out, and we are getting our staff enrolled in all of the courses for 2025, just to ensure that continued professional development and compliance. And exemption applications, all exemption applications that were received prior to December 31st. December 31st or prior have been submitted on to the Board of Tax Appeals. So we've worked through all of the different things. So at this time, if you don't have any questions, I think I got you pretty caught up. Thank you. Cheers.
next commissioner, you have Evan McMillan at 9:45.
Yeah. Sure County smelled right too. Solid.
That's what's, whenever you
I
make
still can't tell you.
I know, don't look at me. I make some mistakes. Try.
Maybe you're gonna supposed to be probably.
Two of those, yeah, I imagine.
This picture, is that actually a bridge that we
Mhm.
have? Where is that one?
That's the one.
That's one in, Timber Valley.
That table, that's a cool looking bridge. You're gonna rebuild it the way it.
No.
Oh, shoot, it's
I
really
didn't know
cool
if we
looking.
still had any of those old truss bridges left. I know.
That's hard. Well, we have one other truss, but it's not the same style.
The
But that,
low truck, the other one's one of the
yeah,
low.
another one's a low truss, kind of like what was that,
Fancy. That was
what's that?
Yeah.
We replaced that. fan.
No.
We have one more up north that's like it, but this is the last one we have of this. Kind.
You said that was
They're
so.
neat looking bridges, but they're
They're cool, yeah.
120 years old and not designed for modern equipment.
120 wooden deck. It has pennant hanger system in it that nobody built. You can't build them like that anymore. They're really labor intensive to inspect. And it's on annual inspections.
You said that was Silver Creek.
Now, so this is Tabor.
Tabor.
Valley.
Oh, okay. You have to go out there and take some pictures.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
The Bill of Public Works. Hope you all enjoyed your New Year's. I'm here today to present the first RFQ for the 2022 sales tax program. So this will include 6 bridge projects and 3 culverts. On the following slides, I've got some images of the current structure and their location in the county. So this is the list of bridge structures like the Crooked Creek, Green Randolph, Kansas Avenue, Lasida, Silver Creek, and Sunstead. They're a little more centrally located within the county. Images of just old structures that are either scouring out, the abutments are cracking, or some of the deck, see, have some issues here. Their sufficiency rating is low enough as to where they need to be replaced. So, we've also got some culverts that are located in the north and south portion of the county, just 3 culverts here. There's their location. So the cost for replacement of all these structures is estimated to be around 2.6 million. That will include the design and the construction of all these culverts. So that is all that's being included in this RFQ. There are 17 more structures and a few other large projects being considered for the 2022 sales tax program. Those will be included in the next few RFQs as they come out. We decide to use that method solicitation. There's also another posted structure that has kind of been put on the back burner in the past. That's the one we were just talking about, the pony truss on East 56th. So that structure leads to a township road that has very little maintenance. There's a lot of deep rutting. I believe there's some cold that's bad. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done to bring that road up to standard if we were to replace that bridge. That estimated cost for that structure about $700,000 to $800,000. So it's one of the more pricey structures we've got. We are discussing different replacement options or possibly another route for access for those 3 to 4 residents that live on that East 56. It's more farm ground than anything. It's mainly used for farm access. But just wanted to bring it to your attention as we'll likely come back soon to discuss how.
The landowners have asked about.
They have asked me several times about it, but we kind of got around that with the, kind of that roundabout road with the.
Yeah, that just brought up right before Christmas, we met with each landowner and township. So there's still. They kind of requesting to have it put back.
Yeah, need to be done at some point in time. Makes sense.
That structure rating is pretty low.
Yeah.
It's posted pretty low as well.
It's needed for ag purposes for sure, so.
And the worst part about it is, it's our easement through the shooting range.
Yeah.
It's pretty much landlocked.
Yeah.
Those properties back there. Yeah. 3 farm grounds and fire construction has leased property.
Yeah, they use it quite a bit, yeah, planting and harvest, though, that's the big thing about it. All 3 of them.
Well,
I did have one question.
Okay.
Because the no, put proposals, they're selected to have proposals for each separate bridge then.
Yes, so we'll send out this RFQ and then they'll send back basically a proposal for each structure they want to work on. We also have a basically a priority list that we're sending to all these consultants. That way they can choose which structures they have the highest.
So it's not all gonna go to one.
No.
No,
Looking
no,
for
we'll
one
select for
contract
each
or one
project.
engineer to do all of them. You're looking
Correct.
separate. Okay, that's, I
Yeah, we'll
wasn't
split these
clear.
projects out.
And then do they put the pricing is usually, now, they give you a price and then hourly rates.
Yes,
Will they give prices on this or they're just talking about, or at least, or their hourly sheets?
they'll give their hourly sheets and then also an estimated
Yeah.
budget so that for the engineering, it's usually not to exceed,
10% or something.
typically around 10, yeah, between 8 and 12%. But the total project cost.
okay, well, I would make a motion to approve opening the RFQ for the 2022 sales tax program.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve opening the RFQ for the 2022 sales tax program. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Commissioner, you have Amanda Webb at 10. Hi, Amanda, how you doing? Good.
Where is this one? You know where that is?
I do not. Evan, John, where's that round stone culvert at?
I believe that was the picture on the very front. I believe that was Jerusalem.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
So the new
Sure.
culverts, are you gonna make them as pretty as the old ones?
I know, right?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Finding somebody to. That's the thing, they look awful neat.
Yeah,
I
that's really
understand they have to be
cool.
replaced, but they do look pretty cool.
Yeah, we're kind of considering whether or not that'll have a historic significance. So SHPO may get involved and want it to.
It probably will, along as well as. The 56. I saw that one as well. And there's one other pony trust, I think it's either on this list or. Will be on maybe the next one that will have some historic. Issues with.
Well, that one would be cool, to figure out a way to build around it. So.
Yeah. The truss, I think what we're talking about was the first picture you showed. I think that's the truss on 56.
Is it?
If it's not the one, it's similar to the one we're talking.
So, yeah,
about.
it's on page 54.
It's your very first picture.
That's the culvert.
Yeah.
That's that pony trust we're talking about that leads to 56.
And how old is that?
1920.
been there a while.
So it's possible that one has room and some alignment, we can make a bridge next to it.
Really?
Hmm,
And then that one would just be barricaded and pull road removed into it, and then it gets set in place. And let nature do what it does.
yeah, that culvert with that rounded culvert. You think that might, do you have any idea when that was built? That one?
I don't think we do. I believe it's too small to be considered a bridge. We don't really document much of that.
Yeah, that's probably prior to 20, I bet.
Looks pretty nice.
It is cool. It's amazing, after that many years, it hasn't deteriorated as much as some of the new ones.
What happens now is the truckways and vehicles are so much more.
Yeah,
These were built, if we're lucky, 20 foot wide. You didn't have much room on it, you only needed one way traffic going on.
Look for Model Ts or Model As or something.
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't really have really nice. Hibiscus plant, because I have some, and then rancher moved in and honeysuckle kind of grew up somewhere. And I was trying to tell you, we need to get rid of that. I was like, I said, no, it's-
It'll overrun there.
and now it's taking over there, it's killed that plant.
No.
Yeah. I mean, those hibiscus are pretty strong. And now it's just a ugly. They're not ugly. No, I've got some neighbors. John, I have a question. It's come up before. What's happening with the windows?
Oh, we are looking at first February bid date. Yeah, that works for everybody. Not sure how the process will work yet as far as removal and installation. If we can get them bid advertised here next week after, we can open them early February. And then either get them, the windows coming or manufactured, and see how all that goes about.
Late March or April.
I'm hoping.
Work. Yeah, Bruce did tell me that they've got the list over to us. I forgot to.
Oh, good. I've been kind of wondering, there was something we needed to do.
No, it was a contact right before Christmas.
Yeah.
And kind of, I think he was at a point where he's ready to put bid documents together. So I'm following up next week and see where we're at.
We have a big delay another year to go through.
Oh,
this.
I don't think it'll be that long. We won't.
Bless you.
Just need to I think he wanted to make sure he had the right numbers and how he wanted to set up measurements for the windows and the side. How to set up bid documents, do that. I think he did say they won't require historic review
Okay,
or permit.
really?
Shouldn't to
No.
replace windows.
Very good
Not if
replacement.
you're replacing windows.
Yeah.
It's
I was kind of
modification.
wondering about the fronts here.
Well, that was his conversation with the two people at the city that he wanted to
Okay.
talk to them about that.
Yeah, replacing windows, you're gonna do it for me.
I don't think we need to replace that one out there, but I don't know about what we want to do there.
Well, that door.
Well, another thing is if you're gonna replace, you may as well replace all of it, because that thing lets in a lot of air.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
it's-
Replace it, but whether we replace it with a door or a window.
the question.
yeah, I was thinking we were gonna do a window there and like this is a
I
good
added
exit
this
door.
front door.
I do like having an emergency
Yeah,
exit.
Yeah.
So there's your
There
answer.
was talk of doing different glass or something down here at one point in
I
time.
think
too.
that still was on alternate.
Okay.
So I think
Well, it's kind of
everyone would
silly.
agree that's a nice exit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's silly to do.
And I can get through a window. It'll just take me a little bit more work. I have to
Right now,
walk
we can
it
get
through
through
it.
all the windows, but with new windows, we wouldn't have to have that problem, I don't think.
Yeah, I
You
think
just
these
push
desks
these
will
out.
Yeah, you can
Get
breathe
out.
on them heavy and they'll probably just
dive
fall
it
out.
out the back door.
That's probably, look to the breaker, and that's really true.
I'm sure it's probably fire code.
Probably need an exit.
Have you guys seen the latest snow forecast?
Oh,
Saturday 4.9, Sunday 9.3.
Yeah, last I heard some show popped up was 7.
I mean, it's still 2 days away, but that's a large forecast, even if you get half of it.
Especially when your first major snow of the year.
My wife and daughters love and snow, and they need to come out and help me plow.
Yeah. Yeah, really. You come over to my house too.
Might make Monday a little treacherous.
That's the thing, the temperatures need to be so cold too. It'd be interesting.
To get out early and get it.
First snow on that car, see what it's got, my new car. Didn't
Good
have
thing I got
much
knee high.
weight in the back.
No, you
Of
probably
course, the Mustang didn't need.
put some bricks in there.
Rear wheel drive too. Yeah,
And
throw a bunch of sandbags back there.
All right.
Good morning, Commissioners. Amanda Webb, Planning Director. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
So because of KAC last month, I didn't have my normal update with you folks. So what I have for you is planning and development's update for the last 2 months for November and December 2024. So with Keats, just want to let you know the Kansas Water Office, the technical assistance grant that we were awarded, everything's been going along just fine with that. We've been spending that money and getting reimbursed, so all is well there. Kansas Water Office, the water projects grant, if you remember, we did the first round when we did the technical assistance, we applied for both, did not get the first round. We applied, they opened a second round this summer that we've applied for. They still haven't made their grant announcements. Hoping soon, I assume they got probably a lot of applications, so it takes time to go through, but it has been a little bit. So as soon as I hear either way, of course, I'll let you folks know, but that is still out there as a bit of a question mark. Everything else, the KDHE grant, that's of course there and waiting to be spent, but that's mostly for constructions. That'll be a little bit down the line, but that's ready to go. And then the USDA and the rural development funding, we're still providing some information to them. They're doing their underwriting. There's just a lot to it, you know, a lot of back and forth, but they're still working on it. We're still working on it. That amount would be the same as we applied for the same amount as that we did for the water projects grant for Kansas Water Office, the million and change. That's kind of the project itself is 4.7 million. We've got about 3.7 million in identified funding. So we have that million short, when I call it. So that's still what we're kind of looking for. So the water projects grant I applied for that amount. USDA would be that amount pending whatever we would get from water office that would lower that. And the project is, again, as a reminder, eligible for up to 40% of grant funding from USDA. But at this time, I don't know what the grant loan split would be. It could be nothing, it could be up to 40%. And anything that's not grant would be lower through USDA. So that's information we're still waiting. So.
Are they waiting on the water department to make their award, or is?
I'm not sure,
I think
honestly.
they're waiting on the legislature to figure out some kind of mechanism for how to decide the process.
You're just talking about the US legislature.
No.
On the
state.
USDA, wouldn't it be that? It'd be the
Water is a
national.
USDA. isn't it?
No, it's
the-
federal.
The water resources one is not USDA, that was the state. But yeah, with USDA, I mean, they're of course aware, I have to let them know everything we've applied for and everything we've received. You know, there's just a lot of different things we're doing USDA, so. So schedule, you can see that there, that's a November 2024, of course, subject to change as we move along, but everything should be roughly going to schedule right now. So construction for the most part would be most of 2026, finished in early 27. That's where we are right now. And I have some information about the outreach we've done over the last few months with our community meeting and the updates we've sent to the email group and our website. And then engineering, of course, they've been doing their in-house work, field work and in-house work. They had some on-site meetings with some of the different property owners in December, and I'm just waiting for BG to let me know how some of those went. But that's meeting people on site to actually kind of see what's going on in the property. Does some of the sewer alignment need to change, all of that. We had a preliminary alignment map that we presented in our November meeting, and it was just that very preliminary. So of course it can still be modified as needed, depending on what's happening on site. You know, things with water lines, things with other utilities, things like that they want to modify. So everything is going accordingly with Keats. Just again, waiting for, you know, funding information and just kind of going along. Is there any questions you have about Keats or anything I can find out for you? Everything is going, I'm gonna knock on this piece of wood here, but everything's going okay with it so far, so. All right. So our comprehensive plan update, we're gonna get that kicked back off this month. We were able to get our contract with Stantec finalized last month. And so the first step is county staff will meet with our Stantec project team in the next week or so, just to kind of outline everything, kind of get the schedule updated and determine next steps to start this process. Again, that'll happen this month. We'll get the comprehensive plan committee going again. I sent them an email, I want to say last week on my days of course are melding together with the holidays. They sent that group an email last week, just letting you know, we're gonna be getting back to it this month, just get ready, get excited. Get really excited because everybody was excited before, I think, so, and we were going really well, so I'm glad we're gonna be getting that kicked off again. Because we'll have some activity, I'll be back to provide you folks my monthly end of the month updates for the Confident project each month. So, but of course, I'll always give you information during this update as well, and then if there's anything else you need to know, for sure that. So. Moving along to our LEPP grant, the Local Environmental Protection Program grant. Remember, we were awarded $50,000 to help low and moderate income property owners with repair and replacement of their wastewater systems. So far, we've assisted the 2 property owners that we talked about before with their wastewater system replacement, both complete failures. We're going to open the second round soon. Basically, why I'm waiting is I need a final invoice from the second property owner that we helped. Just in case things happen on site that can't be anticipated and estimated yet. So I want to wait to get that final invoice. It actually happened on the first one as well. So that's why I want to wait to know exactly what that number is. So I can, when we go out for the second round, I can make sure people are aware we have X amount of dollars left to assist, so I can give an accurate number. So that's why we're still well within our time frame. This goes through the end of June of this year, so we're still well within our timeline. And then KDHE did update their income guidelines about mid-month. They're going to start using 2024 federal poverty guidelines, and they also increased, as you can see there in the middle of the page, increase the income ranges and percentages that folks can be helped. So that'll open up a little bit more. looking back on the 5 applications we received during the first round, it doesn't impact any of those. The 2 that were eligible, we've already helped, and the 3 that were not eligible are still ineligible. So it doesn't impact that. It will. If you recall, we also applied for the 2026 LETP grant. They were supposed to make their announcements on the awards the second half of December, but they're waiting for they got a lot of applications, so they're waiting for their state funding allocation and I guess to know exactly how much they're gonna have before they'll make those announcements. So I don't have a date that that's going to happen. But that's what they're waiting for a little bit more information on their precise funding when they make those announcements. So as soon as I have information, of course, I'll let you all know. I'm gonna skip down a little bit. If there is anything else you folks have to ask about, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things we have coming up. On Monday, we're going to have a public hearing for the Valleywood Combined Sewer District expansion. If you remember, we talked a lot about this one I have to say last year now, not earlier this year. Last year, we had some building permits that were issued, and then we found out that they aren't actually in the benefit district, even though all of the infrastructure has been installed and is laid out there in the subdivision. So we have received a petition from the property owner. He owns the majority of the properties that are left to develop and not within. There are a few that were developed that hooked on that aren't part of the district, but most of them are vacant. He owns a lot, most of them, not all of them, but he was of course enough for that would be 1%. So he has submitted, he has submitted for expansion of the system to include all of the lots in Valleywood there. So we'll have that public hearing again on Monday. We'll have a little bit more information. I'll provide that the card that we originally had last spring, just to give you all that background again. I know there's a lot to this one. If you folks remember, it's a combined sewer and stormwater district. So that's a consideration to make. And then there's just history about how all of that was kind of put together and all of that. So all of that information will be before you on Monday for your public hearing. And then we'll have the resolution for you to make a decision. So
figure out how you'll add. It's people who've already been in the district, what they've paid versus what the new ones will pay. I assume there's some kind of adjustment within that, or.
Yeah, I don't know, John or Brian wants to answer that.
Commissioners, that's an excellent question. And we've researched this issue thoroughly. Normally, when you have, so there's 2 ways that the initial infrastructure, the sewer infrastructure, can be paid for. Either it's paid for by the district or the developer puts it in. And in this case, the reason why it already has sewer to it is that the developer actually installed at the developer's own expense all of the sewer infrastructure. So no, the district never paid for their infrastructure. They were only formed to collect user fees.
Okay, so it's just that. Okay.
Yeah, so there's really no equity to pay down because these folks, it was already installed
for initially. It's just, I assume there's hookup fees or something.
Yes, Commissioner, there are. We have
But then it's just the user fees after that.
And crucially, if these folks were to be added to the district, they would be responsible also for paying for any stormwater improvements that would be done down the road.
Does that include the stormwater? Has that been an ongoing expense for the original homeowners? Or are they going to have to fix it? You know, because a lot of
Is
them
there a
covered up.
fix?
I mean, there's a lot of people that have messed with the stormwater.
But there is.
How much money you got?
Yeah. So I don't know. How does that work? The stormwater. So,
Well,
do we know?
I will defer to the voices of experience. I can tell you that, the 2 things I know is that there was some modest improvement that was done, I want to say 25 years ago, that helped somewhat. And I believe there was a modest assessment that went to the district, or that may have been done out of county funds. That's what I don't know. But the way that it does work moving forward, and that's what I would defer to if Rich knows off the top of his head. I Do you remember that project?
Yeah, I remember that project, and of course, it's no longer functioning, and John, you're here, feel free to add as much as you want, but it was done with ditches and stuff, and people have filled in their
Filled in the
ditches.
ditches
And
since then, yeah.
so, yes, it can be done. To Commissioner Ford's point, I think John would agree. If you really want to do potentially really resolve it, that is a very large number, and that that housing community could not afford that. We meet with Whit O'Brien's regularly, and we are on them all the time, see if we can find some money. That area just doesn't qualify because it's not in a floodway. That's the problem. Its problem is because actually there was a wetland down in that area originally, and it's just flat. The water has nowhere to go. So you gotta
It's
make
built on a
some,
pool table, that's what I keep
you gotta
saying.
make some place for that water to go. And can it be done with engineering? Probably. And we've had SMH did a study years ago about it and came and did a presentation to the board, but to really resolve it, it is a large amount of money. It'll be similar to a Keats deal where the county, state, and fed are gonna have to come up with some money to resolve that issue. The unfortunate part is, and I was gonna ask you this, Amanda, do you know what those houses are selling for?
I don't know, but I can find out.
But due to the community issues and concern on affordable housing, that's the best area for affordable type housing without subsidization of a program for RHID.
I think maybe I want to say, and this is completely off the hip, right? But I think the base house is like in the 1.8, and then you put like the lot cost on top.
Right.
So I think they're in the low to.
220, 225.
That's what I'm thinking as well. And
Not your threshold for.
Yeah.
And they're a modest slab house with a fair amount of square footage. And so there's a demand for it, but that is really an area where you can get some quote unquote new affordable housing. And so, yeah, it'd take a lot of money, and the commission, John could.
The city charges them for sewer and water. We get a little small allowance back from the city for maintenance of the system, but I think they're also assessed. Have an annual assessment value part of their taxes. That goes towards this. There's not a large amount of money in the budget in that fund. Anything that we do to improve drainage out there will be, but then it would be a special segment. Have to be to help pay for without grants and other.
Just looking quickly, there, some of the older ones are 165 on the appraisal and up to 220 for the highest. So it is, yeah, that's the price range that they've been looking for.
But the thing is, by the time you put in that special assessment, then it makes it
'cause right now they don't have-
if they have to pay the full price. And I say it's like Keats is where, hopefully we could find some state or federal money to fund a large portion of it, just like Keats. The original intent with Keats was never to find enough money to fund the whole thing.
Right.
It was to pay for the lion's share of it to make it affordable. And so there just is nothing out there federally or state wise with it being not in a floodway. And so we continue to ask regularly, different programs, as Amanda can tell you, come available all the time. So we will continue to look, but.
And that's part of the reason why none of these studies improvements have never been done.
The cost.
The residents don't think they can afford it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not.
But all these extra houses are gonna cause a lot of drainage issues, so
I
it's
just
like.
like one more thing, if that's okay, I know I've already exceeded my time. But I'd like to know, I'd like some direction from the board, if you will, about if you'd like to have another discussion about short-term rental regulations. This is coming from, we talked a little bit about it in our county group at KAC. And I believe it was Johnson County sent, it's from Independence, Missouri, and they have some different, criteria within their regulations. We can explore. It all does, of course, funnel back to enforcement. I just wanted to know from you folks if we'd like to dedicate a little bit of time in a future meeting to talk again about STR regulations.
The difference there is that's still municipal and not county.
Right.
So there's still that issue there. I don't know how to approach that.
I hadn't heard to hear what somebody else is doing.
Sure.
See what.
Yeah.
see if anything can apply, like I say, without enforcement.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about
The
this
municipal
study.
stuff, I haven't looked at it yet, but I'll take a glance in preparation for discussion.
Yeah, some of it was they limited the amount within a certain radius, like you couldn't have ones like right next door to each other, or again, within a certain radius. If there was somebody, there are jurisdictions, it doesn't happen really in ours, it could, but it doesn't really happen in ours. Where one entity or one person owns a bunch, and they limited how many, one particular person or entity could own. Things like that, and there's a couple other things that were different in there, so I'll schedule some time at a future meeting that we can talk a little bit more about it and see if we want to make any changes or explore anything further. Okay.
Back to Valleywood real quickly on Commissioner Folke's last point, as the guy that owns the lot was building those last 4 houses, I think it was, and he acknowledged when I mentioned at that meeting, building these houses creates more runoff. It's just exacerbating the existing problem. And he acknowledged that, but he doesn't have any responsibility to resolve the water issue, but you will get more and more pressure, the more and more water that's coming off of those going to the existing properties, because the sad thing is these are on the highest portion of, which is good for these houses, but not good for those that are already having an issue.
And they're all gonna have lawns and,
So it's going to be a
runoff.
continuing issue. We're going to have to try and figure something out on.
Thank
Maybe we
you.
need Buffett.
Thanks, Amanda. It is Mr. Parker's time.
Commissioners, Brian Parker, County Counselor. I'll try to be brief so we can catch up with stay on our schedule for the meeting. This agenda item, this is the one that was moved from 11:15 up to the administrative time. It is the 2025-2026 Indigent Defense Council Services contracts. As the commission will recall, we issued the request for proposals. Its number was 2024-A. Requesting proposals from 6 independent contracting attorneys to reestablish what had been referred to as the Indigent Defense Panel. In summary, the Indigent Defense Panel is a group of attorneys that the court looks to appoint from to represent individuals that are not able to pay for legal representation, but for which it's constitutionally required. And that's basically anything that the state doesn't cover those costs for, which is misdemeanors that come with the possibility of jail time, as well as child in need of care cases. We did receive responses to our RFP. The RFP, and they were initially not in compliance with the terms of the RFP. However, when the RFP was left open, there was communication with the attorneys that would constitute the panel should the commission elect to move forward. And that communication was that subject to some changes, most notably the term being reduced from 3 years to 2 years, and then some changes to the actual language that governs the panel's relationship with the court, which the judge has been fine with, that they would be happy to agree to contract under the terms that the county proposed. And so that would be for each attorney a base compensation of $82,000 annually. And there's a handful of reimbursable expenses, but those have been trimmed down compared to what was allowed previously. So it's basically expenses that can't be avoided, including attending a mandatory training. And that substantially summarizes what's before the commission today. And the court is pleased with the panel of 6 that have responded. We issued contracts to them in preparation for presenting this to the board for approval, and all 6 attorneys have returned the signature. So they stand before you, ready for your consideration. Any questions?
I have one, but what do you have an amount on what we've paid past year without the panel?
It's only,
Do you remember that, Brittany?
it's in the upper $400,000 range. It's on the it's on Rich's staff update.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because this would be like 490.
Yeah. It's gonna be roughly about this.
About the same, but we have a.
Might be a little bit less without the reimbursables, but
I believe that's correct,
it's gonna
Commissioner.
be somewhere in the.
And it was a fair amount more than what the previous panel had received.
But that's because we increased the compensation. so
Yeah.
that was gonna
Hopefully it makes it easier on the courts.
I would think so.
That seems to be the consensus. This has been, the courts have definitely communicated that they enjoy working with the panel arrangements.
There's probably some monetary value. I don't know that there's any way of coming up with it that will reduce some stress and services off of both community corrections, RCPD and the jail.
Yeah.
So a little bit of offset there. I don't know if there's any way of coming up with a figure, but
There's the final name on the contract.
The final name?
yeah, we already talked about that. He's gonna have
Yes,
to.
yes, I will be, that would be the one
Unless
change.
you're gonna chase somebody down.
Yes, instead of having to chase Clancy down, I would ask for the commission to approve it. So, well, it's not a change. It's just we're gonna correct that typo and put my name on the First County Council.
Are all these local? Names?
They all come from the region. And by region, I think some of them go over to Geary County. That's my memory.
Yeah, I was trying to look up one and thought I recognized it was different spelling. I was thinking of someone else, but it showed in speakers. The one I can find, maybe the head office here now or something.
We did have a seventh attorney as well that
Yeah.
submitted, and we're sticking with the court's recommendation, but I have been in contact with that attorney. And, I've also confirmed with Judge Bannister that he will be considered for regular appointments. So that he becomes, because there's always is some off-panel work when there's a conflict or something. And so that's, as Commissioner Ford said, I imagine this will be at revenue neutral. We may save a little money, but a lot of this has to do with predictability and the functioning of the court.
Why did you get that other guy trained?
I gotta be honest, I can't believe we're actually here.
Finally.
Yeah,
Finally.
after almost 4 years. Yeah,
See, it is a better new year.
yeah,
Yeah,
we know it does start on a Wednesday,
it's a
Thursday.
good way to
Friday.
start it. It's-
Yeah.
And ends with it too.
Any other questions?
No.
Why are they voting?
Or I don't know, sorry.
You need to make part of the motion to change the name on them or not. That's just.
No, that's just a
Yeah.
typographical.
Just,
Just be a motion to approve the SIG contract.
You want to do what you want me
yeah,
to
I
do?
don't care. Go ahead.
Oh. I would make a motion that the board approve and authorize the board chair to sign each of the 6 separate contracts with proposing attorneys for indigent defense panel services for 2-year terms with base compensation of $82,000 annually for each contracting attorney.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded, and board approved and authorized the board chair to sign each of the 6 separate contracts with proposing attorneys for the Indigent Defense Panel Services for 2-year terms with the base compensation of $82,000 annually for each contracting attorney. All in favor?
Aye.
Chairman, please sign.
Oh, gee.
I was wondering what that
You
big
don't even have
stack
to do
was.
anything. It's all yours.
Okay.
Well, it's only one signature per. Or
No,
two.
there's like 6.
Oh,
Can't even make a contract easy. Sign the same amount though.
Typically, a lot of times that's what happens to me.
I've got a copy.
Oh, okay.
You can solve a copy of it.
You Clancy, you'll rethink moving to Vegas.
Not counting on
Yes,
that.
I've chatted.
No, it's, plans are kind of up in the air for a little while, from what I understand.
Still looks for a place.
Well, there's a lot going on, I
No.
think.
You know, the times I bumped into him, he has been very much enjoying retirement.
Oh, yeah.
Is it wearing the hat, huh?
Oh, yes.
Sorry, but I missed this.
It's very well attended.
Forecast, then freezing drizzle first and then snow.
Well, that's always ideal.
Yeah. That makes it.
Especially for two-wheel drive vehicles in the rear.
Well, I had a front wheel drive vehicle for one time, big old Cadillac. And that was worse because the rear end would swing around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, but it was a big, long vehicle.
This, it comes to fruition, those will be good days just to stay at home.
Yeah, there's no reason to be out when it's freezing. You know, a big old Cadillac.
Really?
Yeah, I drive down the road, the whole rear end.
How fast should be driving, Captain?
Fast, you know, maybe 25, 30, something like that. It didn't matter. It just wouldn't hold it.
My dad used to intentionally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my dad doing donuts in the snow and ice, you know?
You know, the lockdown from us was very few cars on it, so that coming off the main street on there, he kind of, my mom would be hollering, "You're teaching those kids." And so then, yes, that's what we did when we got old enough to drive.
Absolutely.
See what we could do with it.
They're either on the corners. I never really brought up in a rural area or a small area. You do things.
Ours was in the middle of peak,
Oh,
right next to Washburn University.
Oh, dear.
actually.
I think we got it.
hey,
Thank you.
it's about 2 pounds. Isn't
Yeah, I
it?
know it is. How long you need this to go until Bryant?
For 30 minutes.
We go till
To 11?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, I move that county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman McKinley, and Commissioner Foki, recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Bryant Parker, County Councilor, attorney for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, exception to the Kansas Open Meeting Act. Open meeting to resume in county commission chambers at 11 a.m. John Ellerman, Director of Public Works, and Michael Bowler, Director of Noxious Weed Household Hazardous Waste, will be present during a portion of the executive session to provide factual information.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded for the county commission to recess into executive session for the reasons previously stated under the attorney-client relationship exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. All in favor? Aye.
Okay, what you doing?
Commissioner meeting is live.
I move that the Board of County Commissioners come out of the executive session.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, the Board of Commissioners come out of executive session, all in favor?
Aye. Also move that the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, the record reflect action shall be taken consistent with the consensus reached in executive session, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, well, since we moved the other item up, that was the last item for the day, so. I don't have anything else to add, so. Oh, we have any other pending business, do we?
Do not,
Okay.
we're ready to adjourn when the board is, so go Cats on Saturday, stay away from the game.
We will.
An away game.
I was gonna say, it's not a home game this weekend.
The next two are away, TCU,
Oh, okay.
The women are at home Saturday.
are they?
They don't play another ranked team until like early February.
TCU, well, there's a couple. TCU, I know they're saying K-State and TCU are the two
Oh, really?
Yeah.
headliners for the women's. There's some others that are.
Isn't that ironic, his old school?
Yeah.
But those two are considered the favorites. Well, I'd move to adjourn the January 2nd, 2025 of the heck meeting.
Yeah.
I'd second that.
Oh, no. I wonder if I put 25 on everything today. I didn't even look.
I have so far.
Oh, okay. I
I have
probably
so
did, but
far.
I just didn't realize that. Okay. Well, that's been moved and seconded to adjourn the January 2nd meeting of the Rutherford County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.